I've been saying Prismatic Evolutions is cheap for the longest time. I've said it during this whole time when it dropped, and when it dropped even further to $100. I remember when it hit $100 that day, I talked about it. I said, you know what? I don't want to advise you to buy because I would sound crazy, right? Buying double MSRP for this Elite Trainer box. I didn't want to tell you guys to buy it, but at the same time, I wanted to let you guys know that it was cheap in my opinion, and it wasn't going to last long. And how long did it last? One day, because it jumped back up, and now Prismatic Evolutions Elite Trainer boxes are back to 125, which is how much they dropped to on release day. So it only took, what, 2 weeks to retrace back to what it dropped at on release. I mean, this was expected to happen. A lot of people during this time, when prices were going down, so many people, especially, the people on the collecting side that don't care about value, that were upset about prices, everybody was laughing and everything. And I told you guys, you can go back to I don't know what video it was, but I told you guys they're laughing too soon. Yes, they laughed too soon. How surprising. And I told you guys the reason why they were laughing is because they didn't understand why prices were going down. If you understood why the prices were going down, you wouldn't be worried. And that was me. Because the reason why prices went down was because the first few weeks, people got their pre-orders of Prismatic Evolutions, people found them at retail, and people flipped them. So if you knew that was the cause of this price drop, you knew it was going to be very short-lived, and it was very short-lived. It literally lasted 2 weeks, and we are already back up to what it dropped at. So we are past the point of this whole flipping, huge supply, and everything, tanking the market. We are sort of past that at this point. So I feel like we are now where things could go, past where it was at release. And it's pretty much already at that because it's at 125, it dropped to like 120. So we're basically exactly where we were. And if you look at this whole timeline, you can see these peaked at 150. I do feel like, honestly, at this time and the prices of the cards in the set, I feel like $150 is not crazy. I know every time I say Prismatic Evolutions is not expensive, people they think I'm insane, right? Because for me with Prismatic, yes, my mind has changed about Prismatic since, before we knew nothing about this set. And I've talked about it before, before the set was released, I had different opinions about it because of how expensive it was when we didn't know anything. But now we know Prismatic Evolutions, the cards inside of the set, we know the prices of the cards, we know what it has. Prismatic Evolutions at these prices, it's cheap. And I will continue to say it. And, the point of also me making these videos just continuously, like I talk about Prismatic probably like 3 times a week, it's to just, look back at this in 2 months' time, 1 month's time, and just see where the market is then. Was I completely wrong saying Prismatic Evolutions was cheap, or was I right? Because honestly, with Prismatic, I'm the exact opposite of a lot of people. Everybody says Prismatic Evolutions is going to get, printed into the ground. They're not buying anything. It's not worth it. A lot of people say Prismatic Evolutions, they're just not going to buy anything, right? Because it's too expensive. I'm the exact opposite. I think it's cheap. And I've been continuing to buy product. In the last few videos I've talked about Prismatic. I said I bought even more. Well, guess what? I bought even more since then. So I am not lying to you guys when I say I think it's cheap. I am buying. But just know, when I'm telling you guys I'm buying something, I'm not buying at market price. I'm buying under market price. And the prices I'm getting these products at, and based on past data and just my instinct, I do believe a lot of these products are extremely cheap. So those are my thoughts about, Prismatic. I say every single time I bring up this set, it's cheap. And I think we're already seeing that because when it dropped, it rebounded in the exact same amount of time it took to drop, it went back up. So, we will see where things go after this, retracement has happened where, it's gone down and gone up. I think it will surpass where it was at release. I think it'll continue to go up. I don't think it's going to be like, overnight because people are still flipping these. But I think in a month from now, 2 months from now, I don't think it's going to get much cheaper than it is already. And yeah, I just think Prismatic people are just too focused on it being a new set. I've talked about it so many times. You know, people, when a set is new, they'll criticize it for being too expensive, like Prismatic, but in 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, people will stop having that stigma that this set is too expensive just because it's new. Because I'll keep saying it, when you look at the value in the set, it is cheap. It's so obvious, but hey, I'm in the minority here, but it is what it is, right? So all these products are going up. Binder collections, you can see, same thing. Dropped, back up. Poster collections, not really as dramatic of a, drop and increase, because poster collections aren't that much of a premium product, but they aren't like $30 anymore. They're around $35. Surprise boxes, these are a relatively new product. The lowest listed right here is around 67. There is a good amount of supply on these. You can actually buy them for around $60 on eBay if you get lucky. So these still haven't recovered from what they dropped at, but like I said, relatively new product. Now, continuing to keep talking about the same thing, Prismatic Evolutions, just look at the set value, look at what you can pull, and it is cheap. I don't really honestly understand people that think Prismatic is expensive relative to what you can pull, because think about it. You expect to be able to pull a $1,600 card from a pack that's only $5. Like, that's what you expect. That's not how really things work, right? And when you put things even into more perspective, like $11 for a Prismatic Evolutions pack, right? the fact that you can open that pack up, right, and pull a card that's almost $1,600, I don't think that trade-off is terrible. Obviously, you can talk about pull rates and everything, but to even have that chance for $11, I don't think is that expensive. Then you add in all the other factors about this set, and this is why I've been, buying even more of it. Prismatic Evolutions. It has God packs, Demigod packs, Master Balls, Pokeballs. It has 32 SARs. It has Evolutions. What makes you think that this set was going to be cheap and in the future is going to be extremely cheap? I think a lot of people have this hope and this idea that at some point Prismatic Evolutions is going to get to Crown Zenith levels. This was speculation before the set was released, and I talked about it. I feel like at this point in this market, I feel like to say that is a higher chance of happening, of it being a Crown Zenith set versus not. I don't feel like it's favorable for that to happen. I feel like it's more on the side of this set being like a 151. Because Crown Zenith is very different than Prismatic. They're both good sets. But Crown Zenith doesn't have the value. It doesn't have the hard pull rates, right? Crown Zenith is easy pull rates. We all know this, right? It's very easy to pull. It has good value because you actually, do decent like opening stuff. But there's no $1,000 card, okay? There's not multiple $100+ cards like there is in the set. There's just not. So Crown Zenith getting, printed like crazy, and it was cheap for a while. That was understandable. But a set like Prismatic, unless the cards tank, I'm talking about like 50% drops at least. I don't see that happening because, like I said, doesn't make sense for a pack to get to $5, which would be MSRP, and be able to pull a $1,600 cards. It doesn't make sense, right? So it's going to have to drop the prices of cards dramatically for prices of products to get that cheap. And honestly, I don't think it's going to happen. And like I said, look at 151. I keep talking about it because people like to bring up Sword and Shield stuff, but why don't you bring up more relevant sets like 151? Tell me why 151 is expensive. Why is it not cheap? Why hasn't Pokemon printed it into the ground like they are gonna supposedly do with Prismatic? If someone could explain to me why that is, then I guess I can understand it. But 151 Elite Trainer boxes are almost $200. The set is only a year and a half old. It's not that old. It's new. And look at what you can pull in that set. What's the most expensive card? The Charizard, $230. Prismatic Evolutions is cheap. I'll keep making videos about it. I'll keep saying the same things. And, it's just a matter of time, I believe, when this continues to keep going up and it gets older and people just accept the fact that this is going to be expensive and it's not going to drop back down at MSRP. It's just how it is. And that's just what I believe in, and that's why I'm continuing to invest in a Prismatic even at these prices. But no, I am not paying market price. Don't believe that. I am paying under market. But I am buying more Prismatic when nobody wants to, because everybody says it's too expensive. Everybody's waiting for the huge crash that is, supposed to happen. We will see. Maybe I'll be holding the biggest bag ever, but it's going to be a good bag because, I mean, if Crown Zenith can, rebound like it did, or just just skyrocket in price with the amount of value in that set, and you look at Prismatic, I'm not worried. Even if this does crash, I don't, I mean, it doesn't matter to me because, I mean, if the value stays the same or very similar, it's going to go back up. Like, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, if the card prices stay the same or similar, if product prices go down, what makes you think it's going to stay there? It's going to go back up regardless. So I just think there's a lot of potential with the set still with products, and I can still find products on the open market for decent prices. I will buy. I am playing the more risky side. I have told you guys, I admit it. A lot of people are staying away from Prismatic. It's almost like it's like a ticking time bomb or something. Nobody wants to touch it. Well, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I'm doing the exact opposite of what everyone else is doing. And yeah, I will continue to say it's cheap until it's not. But yeah, that's my thoughts. And those are some things about Prismatic Evolution, some updates. Just want to tell you guys more about, Prismatic. I've been buying more and prices have gone up. And I think they're going to continue to go up. So that's the end of this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. And I'll see you on the next one.